This week's episode of Take a Seat focuses on the additional reporting that sole traders and landlords now have to make to HMRC. From the 1st of April 2026, these sectors will have additional requirements to lodge a quarterly return of their income and expenses to HMRC, as well as their normal annual tax return. This is part of the UK's Making Tax Digital initiative, introduced by HM Revenue and Customs. Now, while that might sound like just another layer of admin, it's actually a pretty significant shift in how businesses and individuals manage their finances day to day. Everything from record keeping to cash flow planning is starting to look a bit different. So, what's behind this change? Who does it really affect? And most importantly, how can you stay compliant without it becoming a headache? To help us break it all down, I'm really pleased to be joined by Carole Porter from Dains. Carole joined Dains in 2023 and is an associate director at the company. With previous experience at another local firm, Carole has over 36 years of experience in the accounting world. I'm glad just let us say that. 36 years is a decent amount of experience, Carole. Her main role is business advisory and compliance for SMEs, working with clients from a range of industries. Today we're diving into Making Tax Digital, what it means in practice, how to get started, the common pitfalls to avoid, and how to make sure you're doing it right without overcomplicating things, which sounds good, doesn't it? So, Carole, take a seat. Welcome.
Thank you, Alison.
So, Making Tax Digital's not new, is it? You know, it's something that's been kicking around for quite a number of years, I suppose.
It is,
And I think everybody that uses any kind of software is probably using it in some way or other, but there's been some changes. So just tell us a wee bit about what Making Tax Digital actually is and what these changes mean.
So it came about a few years ago initially for VAT registered businesses. So they currently now have to lodge their VAT returns under Making Tax Digital. It basically means it's through an approved software. VAT returns always before had details of sales and expenses on them. So there's not really any difference for your VAT registered businesses what they're currently reporting quarterly anyway. It's just a different way of filing their returns. But now for your sole traders and your landlords, from 5th of April, if you have income, so it could be just sole trader income, just landlord income, or a combination of both. It's basically your total income that isn't taxed at source. If you've got income over 50,000, you now have to start sending in quarterly returns to HMRC. That's this year. Next year, if it's over 30,000, and the year after, it's if it's over 20,000. So it pretty much captures most people now. You could also be employed and have a salary that's taxed at source, but if you say have a property that you rent out and your rent is more than 20,000, then it affects you as well. But it's just the rental part then that you would be disclosing every quarter. At the moment, the only time HMRC can see what you're actually earning is your annual tax return. So it's basically just so the HMRC can see more regularly how much income you have, what your sort of profits are potentially going to be. So that's kind of the background to it.
And have you seen an increase then in the types of clients that are coming forward to work with you? Is this kind of bringing people out that are looking for a wee bit of extra advice where, you know, before they might have just been dealing with their own paperwork?
To be honest, I don't think there's that many people that have to file a tax return don't always have an account unless it's very simple. But the majority where they actually have a trade and they need an actual profit and loss account in order to file their tax returns generally already have an accountant or have someone to check it over for them. The ones who do have tax returns where they're just like directors and that sometimes do their own, this doesn't affect them. Nothing changes for them.
Yeah. So is it a good thing? Is it just more admin for businesses, for people with that kind of income?
It is a good thing in that it's forcing them to actually do something far more regularly. For a lot of businesses, they tend to go by just the cash in the bank, and that's how they know how well they're doing, whereas now they'll actually see what their profit is as they're going along. Hopefully it will help them to see trends and to see maybe if things aren't going so well or are going better and what have you. You know, because the cash in the bank isn't the only thing that can tell you whether you're doing well or not. It doesn't predict what's sort of coming, you know. So yeah, hopefully it will help them. But on the admin side, yes, I guess, because it's forcing them to do it more regularly rather than just once a year, because a lot of them would just a flurry of work and get it all done, the night before it's due to be lodged or something, So yeah, there potentially is, but again, it will depend whether they want to do it themselves or whether they want their accountant to do it for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are some really great systems, aren't there? I mean, probably. Well, I'm not going to do a plug. You can do a plug for a system if you like, because you guys will deal with some of these big software companies. But since we moved on to using really good online software, it's made a huge amount of difference to our business.
Yeah, I mean, the software, from my perspective, with all my years' experience, the old desktop software was great for accountants because there was lots of reports and that we could get that really helped us, but it wasn't so good for clients. It wasn't client friendly. It didn't use terminology they would understand. It used the terminology that accountants understood. Whereas the new cloud-based software that's out there, the terminology and everything is far more user-friendly, and there is a lot they can do now that really cuts down on the amount of time they need to spend on their bookkeeping. There's bank feeds and there's ways to actually just get the invoices processed through AI is because it's the software actually learns as it goes, and so it'll sort of suggest you where you think things should be posted, and you just need to say, yeah, that's right, rather than manually putting everything.
I mean, we use some really good systems for the bills we've got to pay, where you get an attachment on an email, you send it into a system,
and it automatically uploads it into your software,
and like you say, you can tell it to remember. So if you get a recurring invoice for your window cleaning, it just posts that to the same place every month or wherever. So
you can set the rules at the start and say, so an invoice from this supplier always goes to this code, sort of thing. And that's what it'll do.
Hugely helpful.
So it does.
Yeah. And so, what happens if you ignore the new rules then?
So for the first year, you're getting away with it, but thereafter there will be fines. I mean, HMRC, anything that's lodged late, there's fines. So, but usually when they introduce something new, they always give a grace period to get you used to it. So the first year there's no fines.
And I suppose they're still going to write to you and tell you that you got it wrong.
Yes, exactly. Or you've not lodged it. They will still let you know that you've not done it. But for the first year you're getting away with it.
And so, what is the kind of support then that Dains are offering to businesses to kind of help them through this change?
Well, we can help them with their software. So we're a partner with Xero. Dains are a Xero partner. So we can actually offer them the software at a discounted rate. We buy the license on their behalf, we do offer bookkeeping services, but we are trying to encourage as many of them to do as much as possible for themselves, just because it's good for them and good for their business to be able to see what's, keep a better eye on what's going on.
And have you had to adapt your business then? Have you had to train people differently or kind of realign resources internally, or is it really just an extension of what you already do to support everybody?
It is just an extension of what we already do. I mean, a lot of clients we already do their bookkeeping for. A lot of them just don't want that hassle, and they're quite happy we do their bookkeeping, their VAT, their payroll, everything basically. So that it's just, so for these clients, the same services are offered to them if they want it, they just have to be giving us the information more regularly, basically.
And so from an accountancy firm point of view then, is this going to take away some of those peaks and troughs of the work that you do, or will you still have that kind of mad, busy December, January, March, April period, or will some of that smooth away a bit?
So they still have to do a year-end tax return. So December, January will still be the same. Although we're hoping, because they're doing it quarterly, it's not a case of they'll leave it all to the last minute, because we should have the majority of the information. There are still other things, like if they have employment income or bank interest, dividend income, that sort of thing that has to go in the tax return wouldn't be in these quarterly returns. So, but if the hard part for them is the business side of it and the income and expenses from the business. So we're hoping that they will be able to get the tax returns done a lot quicker and not have that mad rush for December and January sort of thing.
I mean, these platforms have all got really good video tutorials and stuff, don't they? So there's an awful lot of hand-holding.
There is a lot of free tutorials on each of the different software's own websites, but we also offer training, particularly for Xero, because we're Xero partners.
Especially for somebody that's completely new to it, it can be really helpful just to have somebody walk you through it, can't it?
Yeah, so we can help you set it all up, and get all your opening figures and that on. We can show you how to actually get everything posted. One of the things a lot of them do as well is you can have your bank attached to it as a bank feed. So all your bank transactions automatically feed through as well. So we can set all that up for you and show you how to do it all. And yeah, we also then offer like an ongoing support if you need it. And for most clients, they will come across situations where like, I've never had to deal with this before. So they pick up the phone and say, how do I post this? What do you do? Those are the better clients, the ones that don't and take a guess, and then it gets to the end and you're like, yeah, that was wrong. So we always encourage
you still need an expert eye, don't you, at the very end to kind of make sure it's all where it needs to be.
Hopefully it will encourage them to just sort of keep an eye on it a lot, do things a lot more regularly, and then it should help us not have that sort of mad rush. As far as like sort of April and May, we still have to do year-end accounts and that for them as well in order to do their tax return. So it's there's still that, but hopefully we can maybe spread out over the year a bit more rather than a mad rush all at once.
One of the things that keeps coming up time and time in every conversation we're having is AI, and whether the uptick in AI generally is going to do away with jobs. And I think one of the things that I think we are talking about here is AI being helpful, not only in your side of things, but in the client side, like the business side of things. So, it's almost about being able to kind of use some of these tools and not being too afraid of them.
Exactly.
But, you need the people still to do the check-in, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, when the client's doing these quarterly returns, if they don't know what they're doing and they're not asking as they go along, then when it comes to us doing their year-end accounts and their tax return, the figures could be vastly different. And that's what we're hoping it won't be, that the clients are sort of asking as they go along, and so we can get them doing it right. And so the tools within these cloud-based platforms using AI, I mean, you don't even, I guess, realise it is AI that's doing it, you know what I mean? It's just there and this is what it does, and so that like that, just the helping with them, pushing things through into the actual P&L account,
I mean, I know even just probably in the last year we've seen, so we use Xero as well, and even things, so we have our bank feeds all set up, but they introduced something recently which was like a sort of an auto reconciliation thing, so it doesn't always get it right, so you have to check it, but a significant amount of the time, the actual software has worked out that it's recognised the amount of the payment. It does some kind of verification between if an invoice number is referenced against a payment or whatever, and as you say, it learns. So if we've done a manual reconciliation, then the next time around it gives it a go and does an auto reconciliation. So it definitely takes time away, but you still have to do a check.
You still have to do it, and the software is so much easier now, I think, for business owners who don't know what a creditor is and a debtor is, but they know what they have to pay and what they have to receive, and so just the terminology and everything is so much more user friendly, for who it's aimed at, because it was always seemed to be aimed at accountants before, but now it's actually aimed at the business owner.
It? That's right, And so if people have already got Xero, but they haven't got this set up, will they get notifications? How do people kind of just pay attention to their deadlines, I guess?
As far as I know, if you've already got Xero, it's automatically going to, when it became available on Xero, it became available for everyone.
Ready.
So it's already there. And so it's up to them then just to press that button each quarter.
And for everybody else who's not got software, they'll probably be getting some kind of notifications through their normal HMRC
and we've been
regulations.
For us, we've been letting them know and telling them that they need to get some sort of software, giving them options and things,
Perfect.
Great. So hopefully their accountants have been doing the same.
I'm sure they have been, but it's always good to just kind of be able to flag that up again with people, isn't it? So thank you. That's really great. So we always spend sort of part of our podcast interview talking about the technical expertise or your side of things, but we've then got our key questions. So now I'm going to put you slightly on the hot seat and ask our key questions.
Yes.
So our first one is, what is the best or the worst piece of advice that you've ever actually followed?
So I guess it's not advice as such, but way back when I first started my training back in the early 90s, I was with a very small firm, and the only qualified person who worked there, other than the business owner, he was retired and did it like a couple of days a week just to keep himself in it. Had many years experience. Back then, other than sole traders and partnerships, everything was audited. So everybody did auditing, and his advice was, we're like a paperwork detective. That was his expression.
Okay.
But it was more to sort of look behind the numbers and see what it meant, and that although I'm not involved in auditing anymore, it's still a good thing that I carry, that because it helps you just understand the business, understand how it's, the business is looking, looking behind the numbers just lets you see what's going on, and then you can talk to your client about their business without them having to tell you, as all the details sort of thing, because you kind of get an understanding of it looking behind the numbers.
Yeah.
So paperwork detective was the expression that stuck with me all these years.
So what about a completely useless skill that you're really secretly proud of?
So nothing to do with work. As a child, and then again after I had my children, I used to do ballet.
Okay.
So I can go up on my points. I can't do a lot of steps now, but I can still get up on them and sort of do a wee walkabout and stuff, But yeah, useless, but I love it. So
So you're not letting that one go. Brilliant.
No, I still got my point shoes. I go try them on every so often.
Love it. That's great. And what about one habit that's made a big difference to your work life?
So it's something that I've actually been doing more recently, partly because my job's changed, and I'm still getting used to doing it as a habit. But I don't know about you, but I find that the volume of emails, and we have a portal that clients can message us on too, the volume of portal messages is there's just so much of them, when I'm trying to focus on something, is to just ignore them basically. And okay, sometimes you get to the end of the day and it looks like they've really built up, but sort of spend an hour at the end of the day just to go through them, and then sort of maybe half an hour in the morning for maybe go through them, get rid of the ones that you can deal with quickly, and if there's anything you need to spend a bit of time, do that first thing in the morning, and then you can go on with the rest of the stuff, because otherwise you're just constantly distracted throughout the day, and you can't sort of really focus, and before you know it, the day's gone and you're like, I never got that finished, and
it becomes really overwhelming, doesn't it?
There's
does
just
sometimes. So much.
So that's the sort of habit that I'm still trying to get myself really into, because sometimes one pings up and I better deal with that, but it's just having that discipline.
So well, we could go on and on and on. So thank you so much for coming on and being a guest. It's been really good, really interesting. No, I appreciate it. I really hope that those who are listening have been able to take away something new from this episode, particularly around what making tax digital means in practice, and how these recent changes impact the way sole traders and landlords have to manage and report their finances going forward. It's clear that while the move to quarterly reporting may feel like a big shift, it also opens the door to better visibility, improved organisation, and fewer surprises when it comes to tax. And with expert support from firms like Dains, businesses don't have to navigate these changes alone. We'll be back next week with another episode of Take a Seat. Thanks for listening.